Hey guys, so we're back again at the Helix build, about 3/4 of the way through the rebuild, and I thought I would just give you a quick video tour of what we've done, or what I've done. So first off, the engine, I cleaned things up and did just a periodic service, just check and clean the spark plug, clean the air filter. While I was at it, I also replaced a couple of parts. So number one, as I talked about, we installed this new 3D printed reinforced plastic fan cover, which takes a couple ounces off, and also swapped the muffler from the Zimmerman side dump style to this M Studio muffler, which is about 6 ounces lighter. So overall, we saved a half a pound right there. Now this helicopter started around 13 pounds. So I'm thinking we're getting down to 12.5, which makes a big difference. Checked everything else. The clutch is still really good. If you haven't seen them before, the gas helicopters use this Zenoa heavy duty clutch. These things last forever. It's not the typical clutch on a nitro where you have a friction liner on the inside of the bell and then just shoes is like a one-piece metal that just expands. We have these heavy duty shoes with about 1/8 of an inch of friction material on them with this big spring. This thing lasts forever. This is what they use on 5th scale gas RC cars and on GoPeds and things like that. Clutch fits into this clutch bell. It's actually an RC car clutch bell, but rather than just the stock Zenoa, this is a slightly better one made by Vertigo. The difference is this thing is actually a machined bell, so it runs a little bit truer than the stamped welded up ones, which kind of I've used around those. They wobble a bit. While I'm at it, also rebuilt the clutch and pinion stack. The bearings were a little bit loose. You can't probably see it on the video, but they're kind of wobbly, so I swapped the bearings out. This is all just put together from parts that came from the conversion along with the line parts. These are just aligned bearing blocks. This pinion was made by the guy who built the gas conversion kit. It's an RC car clutch bell, and that just fits when it goes into the heli. That just sits right in there. So the clutch drives the pinion, and this little bit, which is the actual adapter for the onboard generator. Another thing that's different from a nitro, this helicopter's got 350 odd flights on it, which run 15 minutes each to up to 20 even. So a couple hundred hours of flight time. And that clutch, like, barely broken in. These things basically last a lifetime, so there's no having to tear them down and reline them or rebuild them from time to time. Okay, so moving on to the body of the helicopter itself, also have done a number of changes. First thing I did was replace the head. I had this shorter head block, which I swapped out from the original one. The originally it had a Nitro Pro main shaft and head, which is about yay tall. And I swatched it out to the 700 FL head, which is a little bit shorter, along with the FL main shaft. And while I was at it, I think at one point I got the newer swash plate and follow arms just to get all the red because it looks cool. While I was at that, I also switched out the servos for the newest generation Futaba low profile cyclic servos, the HPS 701s. Originally had BLS 451s, I think, when I built this, and they're pretty tall. So to fit, they had to go on the outside of the frame, which actually left you in a situation where the cyclic link was out at an angle, so the geometry is bad. These low profile ones I can mount inside the frame. It gets this nice, perfect straight up and down geometry along with the lower head. Should be a little bit better. Also, to get a bit more cyclic travel, I even notched out this so this is a aluminum reinforcement tie plate, a stiffener that ties together the main shaft and the clutch, but it would bind at high deflection. So when you were at low collective and full aileron throw, that could hit. So I just took them off and ground out a little spot to give some more clearance. What else have we done? The rest of it's mostly maintenance. There's a bunch of bearings. I took the whole head apart, greased everything. Yeah, the thrust bearings in the head were a bit crunchy, so took those apart and greased them. Just went through everything. I redid all of the wiring. The wiring in this thing was a mess, so I redid it. It's all heat shrunk, ran the wire into the gyro down through the frame. It's all nicely heat shrunk and laid out, inspired by some other YouTube channels, especially if you've ever seen the guy West Hobbies RC. He does beautiful wiring, and he uses all heat shrink, none of the spiral wrap stuff, so I copied his ideas. We're also switching over to the Spirit. This thing for years and years has been on a Bavarian Demon 3SX, which works really good, but it's getting old in the tooth. And up till recently, we couldn't even get drivers to run the setup program on Windows 11, so I was thinking I might have to replace that. But got, Joey, how many, 2 or 3 Spirits? Joey's over here too.
3, I think.
3 Spirits on our electrics, and we really like them. So I'm going to try this out again. The first time I tried a Spirit on a gasser, the vibration made a mess of rescue. It liked to rescue sideways. But I'm hoping the new Spirit GT will fix that, and they got a lot of cool options. All right, so that's all set up. Engine's about ready to go back in. Last thing is the tail. So on Lions, when they get a lot of time on them, you get a lot of play in the tail. Like I could grab this and it would go through 30, 40 degrees of travel with the head not even moving. So I swapped out gears. What happens is where the torque tube fits into this gear here, it gets worn out on the inside. So I just swapped the gears out. I happen to have a set of these red replacements for the old black ones, and also threw on a set of the latest generation heavy duty tail grips. So that's all up to date. Everything's really tight now. No play, nice and stiff. So we're pretty excited to get it all put back together and have a test flight soon. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back with probably the final checkout and test flights. See you later.